Welcome to Turkish Spotlight Secrets. Today we're unpacking the whisper-filled saga of Akın and Ebru, a story that caught fire from one unexpected snapshot and has since taken over every corner of Turkish entertainment chatter. Hit like, subscribe, and tap join to support the channel, then settle in, because this one unfolds with the subtlety of a slow-burn romance and the intensity of a cliffhanger. It all started with a simple picture shared by a traveling onlooker, Akın and Ebru sharing a quiet seaside breakfast, the kind of scene that could easily be dismissed as two colleagues savoring a calm morning. There was nothing flashy in the frame, just tea glasses sweating in the sun, a plate of simit, a blue stretch of water, and two familiar faces relaxed in the glow of a lazy day. For a moment, the internet shrugged. Colleagues meet for breakfast all the time. Then more images surfaced. The second wave showed them walking along the shore, hands gently intertwined as if the gesture was second nature, the kind of closeness that doesn't ask for permission. Suddenly, the conversation shifted. That's when timelines began to light up, when captions turned into questions. Was it friendship? Was it something else? Why did the air between them feel charged in a way nobody could ignore? Those new photos didn't appear by chance. People close to the situation claimed Akın and Ebru had stepped away from the noise, slipping out of the city to catch their breath. This wasn't a grand vacation, they said, more like a quiet reset. A brief escape where no one asked them to pose, and no one yelled their names across a velvet rope. The most striking detail wasn't the scenic cove or the lazy rhythm of their stroll, it was the way they saw each other, as though their gaze had its own private language. It wasn't performative, it wasn't calculated. It was just present. When they returned to Istanbul, the cameras were waiting. You could feel the energy shift at the airport when the pair stepped into view. Akın, caught between amusement and caution, softened the edges of the moment. He said it was a getaway with friends, and he said it with a half-smile that calmed nothing. The door he left ajar felt intentional, like an answer that pretends to be conclusive while still inviting you to wonder. Ebru, poised as ever, offered a line that felt like a poem written in the margins. The loveliest moments rarely begin with a plan. That single sentence detonated across social feeds. It wasn't confirmation, but it wasn't denial either. It felt like truth wrapped in silk. Fans split into two currents as the comments rolled in. One group, elated and protective, insisted that if there was joy in the picture, it deserved space to exist. Another group swore they'd noticed this spark months ago, on carpets, in panels, at premieres, when their glances landed a beat too long and their laughter doubled back as if sharing a secret. People resurfaced old clips. They resurfaced interviews. They pulled quotes like maps, hunting for a destination they could name. Meanwhile, a line Akın once offered in a thoughtful profile returned with new gravity. The strongest bonds often start from steady friendship. It felt less like philosophy now and more like prophecy. And then came the video. It didn't last long, just a brief clip captured in the salt-bright wind, Ebru tipping her head back and laughing as Akın reached out and brushed a strand of hair from her cheek. The act was simple, but the frame carried weight. The way his hand hovered, the way her laughter softened as she looked at him, there was tenderness there, the kind that isn't rehearsed. The video climbed into the millions in a blink. Comment sections flooded. That wasn't the look you give a stranger, people argued. That was the look you give someone you're learning by heart. After that, everything went quiet. They both drifted offline, no posts, no stories, nothing to latch onto. And in the silence, the searching intensified. Followers dug through the archive, combing through months of content like detectives. Then one observation snapped into focus. Weeks before the seaside sighting, both had shared a sunset from an indistinguishable stretch of coast. The colors matched. The angle matched. It was easy to miss at the time, but once seen, it could not be unseen. A breadcrumb, hiding in plain sight. The rumor gained roots when someone close to Ebru spoke, softly, cautiously. Through a small magazine piece. The friend didn't name names but described Ebru's heart as peaceful, her days as steady, and hinted at an unexpected emotional thread she hadn't planned to follow. That alone was enough to reignite the blaze. Entertainment panels turned the story into a chessboard, moving through every known detail, evaluating each gesture like a strategy. One panelist swore they spotted the two of them tucked into a quiet table at a Bosphorus restaurant, no theatrics, just shared smiles and attentive conversation. The witness didn't frame it as scandal. They framed it as softness. From there, new whispers shaped themselves into headlines. Some reports said that Akın had introduced Ebru to the circle he keeps nearest, the people who hear his thoughts before they emerge into public life. That would be a departure for him. He's careful about what he gives away. In a past interview, he said he doesn't chase perfection, he listens for calm. That sentiment resonated differently now. Ebru, for her part, has said love has a habit of showing up when you don't go hunting for it. Put those philosophies next to each other, and their recent proximity stops looking like coincidence and starts looking like a choice. Then came the photos from the getaway that felt almost cinematic. There they were on an electric scooter, laughter slipping into the wind as they wove down a sunlit road. There they were sharing a quiet coffee with the sea stretching out like a secret. There they were walking barefoot over wet sand, their silhouettes long and intertwined by the sinking light. The image that traveled the farthest was the one of Akın tucking a small flower above Ebru's ear while she dipped her eyes, smiling as if she could hear his thoughts. A caption attached to that shot captured the mood of the moment in 6 simple words: affection lives in the small things. It landed with everyone who saw it because it felt true. And then Ebru's account blinked with a message, brief, unguarded, and gone almost as soon as it appeared. Some connections aren't made to be explained, it read. They're meant to be felt. The post vanished in minutes, but screens move faster than deletions. The phrase had already been saved, shared, and repeated across countless pages. By nightfall, Akın posted a story with Senden Daha Güzel by Duman playing over a horizon line and added a subtle wave symbol. He didn't tag anyone. He didn't write a caption. He didn't need to. People heard what they wanted to hear. By then, the frenzy was self-sustaining. Every outlet wanted a statement, but those who claimed to be in the know said neither would address the speculation until their current projects concluded. It wasn't a denial. It was a boundary. And still, the evidence felt undeniable to those who'd been watching. A journalist who sat with both of them more than once remarked that something in their eyes had shifted. That there was a softness there now, a quiet recognition that wasn't present before. Not a performance. A discovery. Fans debated in threads that ran for days. Some framed it as a beautiful accident, unfolding exactly when it needed to. Others worried about the noise that comes when two people try to figure out something delicate under the loudest lights possible. But no matter which side of the conversation they stood on, people couldn't stop watching. Without a single official confirmation, Akın and Ebru became the pair everyone talked about, argued over, and rooted for. Their silence didn't close the story, it deepened the plot. What makes this different is the way the moments add up. No grand declarations, no orchestrated reveals, just small choices that seem to gather meaning. A shared look that lingers a second longer than it has to. A hand that remembers how to find another. The sudden absence of noise where chatter used to be. Even the places they're seen feel chosen with care, a coastal town that doesn't lean toward spectacle, a restaurant with soft corners and dim lights, a stretch of beach where only the water keeps track. There's also the undeniable rhythm of two people who understand the stakes. They've both worked under intense attention. They both know the cost of giving everything away. Maybe that's why each public whisper feels deliberately incomplete, like the outline of a story told in pencil, not ink. They may be protecting something new, or they may be testing whether the ground beneath them is firm enough to carry a future. Either way, you can't miss the sensation that a boundary has been crossed from friendly grace into a territory more intimate and fragile. In private, insiders suggest that their conversations are easy, that they move from career anxieties to ordinary joys without strain, that they organize their days around calm when they can, and choose silence over statement when the noise rises. If that's true, it maps perfectly onto who they've always said they are. He listens for peace. She trusts the unplanned. Together, that sounds less like a rumor and more like a pattern. Meanwhile, the city remains a character in this story. Istanbul has a way of holding secrets while pretending not to know them. You can lose yourself along the Bosphorus and still be seen from a dozen angles. You can laugh in a cafe and feel the room change the moment a whispered name arrives at the door. Perhaps that's why the quiet moments mean so much: the clipped laughter over a scooter handle, the warmth of a hand wrapped around a teacup, the flower tucked behind an ear. They look like ordinary pieces of a day until you notice the care with which they're shared. Will they name it? Will they ever stand in front of a camera, lock fingers, and say the words people have already said for them? Maybe. Maybe not. There's a part of this that feels like it belongs to them, and a part that will always belong to the crowd watching from the other side of the glass. What we're seeing are the outlines, soft, suggestive, held close. The rest, for now, lives between two people who seem to be learning when to speak and when to protect what's growing. You've seen the photos. You've heard the music. You've read the vanishing caption and the careful answers that neither confirm nor deny. You've watched the internet build a house out of glances and gestures. And still, at the center, the simplest truth remains: sometimes the heart moves without asking for permission, and sometimes the most honest story is the one that takes shape in silence. So what do you think? Are Akın Akınozu and Ebru Şahin just two friends walking parallel paths under the same sky, or are we witnessing the first pages of a love story written in the tide? Tell us your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and support the channel by hitting the join button. This is Turkish Spotlight Secrets, and we'll keep watching the horizon for the next wave of this story, quietly, carefully, and with our ears tuned to every unspoken word.